The tragic story of Sally Horner, an 11-year-old girl with a bright future ahead of her, took a dark turn when she made a regrettable decision to steal a book from a local store in 1948. Little did she know that this impulsive act would lead to a series of harrowing events involving a man claiming to be a Federal Bureau of Investigation agent. The disturbing tale that followed robbed Sally of her innocence and potential, leaving a void in her young life that should never have been. This is the heartbreaking account of Florence Sally Horner. Florence Sally Horner graced the world with her presence in the city of Trenton, New Jersey, on the 16th of April in the year 1937. She was born to Russell Horner and Ella Goff Horner. Sally was not alone in her family, for she had a half-sister named Susan Swain, who exuded sophistication and was 11 years her senior. Tragedy struck the Horner family when Sally was still in her tender years, as her father departed this world, leaving her mother to shoulder the responsibility of caring for the family and being the sole provider for the two young ladies. The Horner household, consisting of Ella Horner, Sally Horner, and Susan Swain, resided in 944 Linden Street in New Jersey. Sally embarked on her educational journey at Northeast Elementary School, a beacon of knowledge and refinement in the vicinity. The year was 1948, and Sally was on the cusp of turning 11 years old, blossoming into a radiant, intelligent, and vivacious young lady. Her punctuality and academic prowess were well known among her peers at school. The allure of joining the girls' club at school captivated Sally, as it did most girls her age. However, the initiation task set by the club members was daunting. She had to steal an item from the five and dime store in the locality. Despite her initial reservations, Sally's desire to be part of the group overcame her apprehensions, and she resolved to undertake the risky task. As her 11th birthday approached, little did Sally know that her life was about to take a harrowing turn, plunging into darkness and turmoil that none could have foreseen. In the early days of summer in 1948, following Sally's birthday, Ella Horner embarked on a grand cross-country expedition, with Sally as her companion on this extravagant journey. Their travels led them to Atlantic City, where Sally, in a moment of independence, ventured into a local five and dime store, unaccompanied by her mother. Upon entering the store, she recalled the challenge presented to her by the girls at the club and recognized that this might be her prime chance to take something. Sally ultimately made the choice to steal a notebook. As she grabbed a 5-cent notebook and concealed it in her bag, a middle-aged man seized her by the arm and identified himself as a Federal Bureau of Investigation agent. He informed Sally that she was being detained for theft from the store. It seemed unlikely that a genuine Federal Bureau of Investigation agent would confront a young girl in a store in such a manner, so the question arose, who was he really? The gentleman identified himself as Frank LaSalle. He was not affiliated with the Federal Bureau of Investigation or any other law enforcement entity. He did not hold the position of a security guard at the establishment either. So, who was he exactly? At the time Sally encountered Frank LaSalle, he was a 50-year-old individual with a criminal record for child abuse. Frank had been granted parole earlier that year, merely 2 months before crossing paths with Sally at the store. He had previously served time for the physical abuse of 5 young girls aged between 12 and 14. Sally was within the same age range when she encountered Frank, although she was unaware of his past. Upon hearing the words, "You're under arrest," Sally was filled with fear. This marked her first encounter with any form of trouble, as she had always been a well-behaved student and a devoted daughter to her mother. As a young girl, she was under the impression that she was truly facing arrest. The man proceeded to inform her that he would release her on the condition that she reported to him periodically. Failure to comply would result in her placement in a reform school, he warned. Sally felt compelled to agree to his terms upon hearing this, as she believed she could not disclose her actions to her mother. Reporting to him periodically seemed like a more favorable alternative than confessing to her single mother that she was facing imprisonment. Over the following 2 months following the incident in Atlantic City, Sally would meet with Frank periodically, as he had followed her and her mother back to New Jersey under the guise of monitoring her. During these encounters, Frank gathered information about her and meticulously devised his next steps. After a brief absence, Frank returned to see Sally once more in mid-June 1948 as she made her way home from Northeast School. At that time, Sally had just completed the 5th grade. During this encounter, Frank presented her with new directives. The set of instructions presented a daunting challenge to her. Frank desired Sally's company in Atlantic City, the very place of their initial encounter. This would require her to leave her family and accompany a complete stranger. Frank had a well-thought-out scheme in place. He planned to masquerade as the father of Sally's classmate and extend an invitation for a week-long getaway to Jersey Shore. Initially hesitant to confide in her mother, Sally ultimately mustered the courage to do so, driven by the fear of potential legal consequences. She informed her mother that she had been invited on a week-long trip to Jersey Shore with a friend's family. Ella Horner, Sally's mother, viewed this as a splendid opportunity for her daughter, believing that she was finally forming meaningful friendships. Consequently, when Sally sought permission, her mother granted it. On the day of departure, Sally was escorted by her mother a few blocks from their residence at 944 Linden Street to the Camden bus depot. There, she observed Sally conversing with a man whom she assumed to be her friend's father. After bidding Sally farewell and wishing her a safe journey, little did she know that the man in question was not to be trusted. Frank had already devised a plan to address any concerns about Sally's whereabouts, effectively concealing any wrongdoing. Upon reaching Atlantic City, Sally and her captor, Frank, assumed the roles of father and daughter, adopting new identities and embarking on a completely different life. Sally was given a new name, Florence Planet, while Frank LaSalle became Frank Planet. Their stay in Atlantic City was brief, and soon after they relocated to Baltimore. Frank went to great lengths to create the illusion of a family unit, enrolling Sally at St. Anne's Catholic School in their vicinity. While engaged in these activities, Frank always ensured that Sally wrote letters to her mother. He closely monitored the content of her letters to ensure that she did not disclose their whereabouts or the situation to her mother. After the initial week, Ella was anticipating her daughter's return from vacation, but instead, she received a letter from Sally. In the letter, Sally expressed her enjoyment of the extended vacation and her desire to prolong her stay. Subsequently, 1 week turned into 2, then 3, and eventually 4. On July 31st, 1948, Ella received the final letter from Sally, in which Sally expressed her reluctance to continue writing. Upon receiving this message, Ella promptly contacted the authorities, suspecting that something had gone awry. The search commenced on August 5th, 1948. By this time, both Frank and Sally had relocated to Baltimore, as Frank anticipated the imminent arrival of the police in Atlantic City and decided to leave. Meanwhile, the Camden detectives investigating Sally's abduction arrived at the return address on Sally's initial letters, 203 Pacific Avenue in Atlantic City. But it was too late, as both Sally and her abductor had already departed. As the case progressed, new charges were brought against Frank, prompting their move to Dallas. Sally found herself in a harrowing situation, as her abductor claimed to be a Federal Bureau of Investigation agent on a covert mission. The routine of attending school during the day and enduring abuse and torture at night persisted for weeks, which eventually turned into months. In Dallas, Frank secured a job as a mechanic, enabling them to maintain the facade of a normal father-daughter relationship. They resided in the serene and meticulously maintained Dallas West Mobile Home Park, situated on West Commerce. Frank diligently ensured Sally's education by enrolling her at Our Lady of Good Counsel, a Catholic school located on South Marsalis at 9th Street. Throughout this period, he meticulously crafted the facade of a caring father figure for Sally in the public eye. While some neighbors perceived Frank as distant and reserved, Sally exuded charm and innocence as a typical 11-year-old girl living with her widowed father. She enjoyed a lavish allowance for clothing and treats, indulging in shopping sprees, swimming, and dinners at neighbors' trailers. The community believed that her father was providing her with everything she needed. Meanwhile, back in New Jersey, Ella Horner, Sally's mother, continued her relentless search for her missing daughter 5 months after her abduction. In December of 1948, in Dallas, where Sally was held captive, the daily routine persisted. Despite enduring physical torture and abuse, Sally managed to maintain a semblance of normalcy during the day. The arrival of Ruth Janish and her family next door to the Planets marked a turning point. Over time, Janish grew suspicious of the peculiar relationship between Frank and Sally. She observed unsettling details that cast doubt on their father-daughter bond. Frank's overprotectiveness, Sally's lack of friends her age, and her confinement to the trailer with her father. These red flags prompted Janish to question Sally's safety. Meanwhile, Sally endured relentless torment, culminating in a severe appendectomy at the Scottish Rite Hospital for Children. Post-surgery, she struggled to walk, her condition deteriorating instead of improving. Slowly, the neighbors began to notice that Sally was not herself whenever her father Frank was around. Ruth Janish had her suspicions and decided to get some answers when she had Sally alone. Despite her efforts, Sally remained tight-lipped. Janish eventually made the decision to not interfere in their affairs. She had already made up her mind to relocate to San Jose, California, in pursuit of employment opportunities. By February 1950, Ruth Janish and her family had packed their bags and made the move to San Jose, California. After a few months, Janish had settled into her new life there. However, she couldn't shake off her concerns about Sally and wanted to ensure the girl's well-being. Janish took the initiative to write a letter to Frank LaSalle in Dallas, urging him to consider moving out west, where there were more prospects. In February 1950, Frank and Sally followed suit. Meanwhile, Sally's health continued to deteriorate. Eventually, she confided in a classmate about the true nature of her relationship with the man posing as her father. Despite her friend's advice to stop, it was too late. Frank whisked her away to San Jose, California. Upon their arrival in February 1950, Frank, Sally, and Janish reunited and began to acclimate to their new environment. However, Sally had reached her breaking point. On March 21, 1950, she mustered up the courage to confide in Janish, revealing that she had been kidnapped and desperately wanted to return home to her mother and sister in New Jersey. Janish wasted no time in helping Sally reach out to her family in Camden. Ella, who had believed her daughter was lost, was overwhelmed with joy upon receiving the call on March 21, 1950, learning that Sally was safe and eager to come back home. Upon receiving the news, the detectives of Camden County, along with the prestigious police force, swiftly embarked on a mission to bring Sally back to the safety of her home. The Federal Bureau of Investigation successfully rescued her from a trailer park in Southern California, leading to the arrest of Frank on March 31, 1950. Sally, accompanied by a Camden County prosecutor, boarded a plane destined for Philadelphia International Airport, where a heartwarming reunion awaited her with her beloved mother, Ella, and her elder sister, Susan. During her time in captivity, Susan had given birth to a beautiful baby girl. Frank's arrest in San Jose, California, on March 22, 1950, did not deter him from falsely claiming to be Sally's father, despite New Jersey authorities confirming that her real father had long passed away. Substantial evidence led to Frank's trial, conviction, and subsequent sentencing to 30 to 35 years in prison under the Mann Act. Finally, back with her family, Sally attempted to lead a normal life, venturing out with them to Florence Township during the summer. However, the transition was not as seamless as she had hoped. The trauma of her 21-month captivity at just 11 years old left her struggling to readjust, evident in her reluctance to engage closely with those around her. Despite the unwavering support from her family and the community, Sally grappled with her emotions. The announcement of Frank's sentencing brought her a semblance of peace and justice. Yet she remained detached from her surroundings, haunted by the memories of her ordeal. Nevertheless, amidst the darkness, she found fleeting moments of happiness and optimism. There were instances when she recalled befriending individuals she encountered during her journey. One of her dearest memories was returning to school. These small moments of happiness truly distinguished Sally as a remarkable and courageous young lady, as she was able to discover light amidst darkness. Despite the inspiring nature of her endeavors, Sally faced another tragedy shortly thereafter. 2 years since Sally came back home to Camden to reside with her family. On August 18, 1952, she was traveling to the shore near Woodbine, New Jersey. On her way back from the trip, her car collided with a parked truck. She passed away instantly. She was only 15 years old. According to the Associated Press report on August 20, 1952, Florence Sally Horner, a 15-year-old girl from Camden, New Jersey, who spent 21 months as the captive of a middle-aged man with questionable morals a few years ago, was killed in a highway accident when the car she was in crashed into the back of a parked truck. There are not many individuals who knew Sally that are still alive today. Her niece, now 70 years old, born in August 1948, 2 months into Sally's captivity, is among the few who remain. Her niece, residing in Burlington, was 4 years old when Sally passed away and spent much of her life unaware of the existence of Sally, her relative. Even though those who had personal connections with her are now scarce, we hope that more individuals will learn about the story of this courageous girl and admire the bravery and resilience she exhibited. On the evening of August 5, 2022, a 16-year-old teenager named Kiely Rodney from California left her residence to join a gathering at Tahoe National Park, which was only a short 12-mile drive away. The event was attended by approximately 200 to 300 young individuals. Following an enjoyable time, Kiely messaged her mother, departed from the party in her vehicle, but unfortunately never made it back home. Her sudden disappearance raises questions about her whereabouts. Was she taken against her will, or did she choose to vanish voluntarily? Today, we delve into the intriguing case of the missing 16-year-old girl, which was swiftly resolved by Adventures with Protest. The narrative of today unfolds in Truckee, a quaint mountain town nestled in California, USA. Situated in the northern region of California, this picturesque town is just a little over an hour's drive from South Lake Tahoe and a mere 20 minutes away from Tahoe City. Truckee, with its rich tapestry of history, culture, and allure, is renowned for its ice harvesting, mountaineering, and the iconic Intercontinental Railroad. This railroad town played a pivotal role in the life of the 16-year-old Kiely Rodney. In 2006, Daniel Rodney, a local tycoon, and his wife, Lindsay Rodney Neiman, welcomed their daughter, Kiely, into the world. Blessed with luscious blonde locks and captivating hazel eyes, Kiely blossomed in the serene mountain town of Truckee, Northern California. An exemplary student, she completed her high school education at the Forest Charter School. Kiely was a polymath with a keen interest in media, entrepreneurship, and music. Driven by her passion for music, she pursued music studies at Sierra College. She cherished moments spent with loved ones, often sharing travel snapshots on social media. Embracing the Gothic culture, she adorned her body with piercings and a tattoo. Standing tall at 5 feet 7 inches, Kiely possessed a slender frame, weighing approximately 118 pounds. A beacon of love and kindness, she was adored by all who crossed her path. Her 18-year-old boyfriend, Jagger Westfall, regarded her as his entire universe. On August 5, 2022, Keely's mother discussed their plans for Friday with her daughter. Initially agreeing to attend a classic car show in Reno, Kiely later changed her mind and informed her mother via text that she would be joining a party at Tahoe National Park. This end-of-summer gathering was held near the Prosser family campground. Prior to her attendance at the soiree, Kiely made a stop at a local business in Truckee, a favored haunt she often frequented with her 18-year-old boyfriend for moments of cherished connection. On this particular day, however, she ventured there solo. Westfall reached out via text, sharing snippets of his day and urging her to remain safe as she made her way to the campground. As the clock approached 8 p.m., Kiely arrived at the gathering, navigating her 2013 silver Honda CR-V through the throngs of revelers. The atmosphere was electric, with 200 to 300 spirited young souls mingling and celebrating. Kiely immersed herself in the festivities, enjoying the company of friends, indulging in a few drinks, and embracing the carefree essence of youth. At approximately 10:30 p.m., she sent a text to her boyfriend, expressing sympathy for his troubles with a message that read, "Oh, I'm sorry that you're going through that." This would mark the final communication she had with him. As midnight approached, Keely's mother received a text from her daughter, indicating she was still at the party, but intended to depart within 45 minutes. When her mother expressed concern and love, Kiely replied, "Okay, Mom, I love you too." Tragically, she never made it home. The following morning, August 6, 2022, Keely's absence prompted her mother to panic upon waking. She checked her daughter's phone location, which indicated she was near the campground. In a state of worry, she contacted Keely's best friend, who informed her that Kiely had left the party early, with plans to meet at Starbucks at 9 a.m. that day for a camping trip. Friends searched the campground for Kiely and her vehicle, but to no avail. As they gathered at Starbucks, waiting in vain for her arrival, Keely's mother, feeling increasingly desperate, reached out to the police to report her daughter missing. That evening, the Placer County Sheriff's Office issued an official statement regarding Keely's disappearance and shared a post on their Facebook page, highlighting the search for Kiely Rodney, who was last seen at the Prosser family campground in Truckee. The following day, a police hotline was established for Kiely Rodney to provide any details about the missing teenager. Keely's mother personally requested her to return home. After viewing the video, she encouraged individuals with relevant information to step forward. In a poignant Facebook video, Lindsay expressed, "We simply want her back home. We are extremely anxious and miss her dearly." At that juncture of the inquiry, authorities were treating Keely's vanishing as a potential abduction due to her missing vehicle. It was disclosed that the last location Keely's cell phone was traced to was near the campground before it ceased functioning. The final call she made was to her family, but despite the location, law enforcement could not discern any indication of what transpired. The Placer County Sheriff's Office collaborated with Truckee Police, California Highway Patrol, Nevada County Sheriff's Office, and even the Federal Bureau of Investigation in their exhaustive search for Kiely. Helicopters scoured the Interstate 80 corridor between the Donner Summit and the Nevada state line, as well as the Prosser Lake vicinity, but yielded no results. On August 9, 2022, authorities released surveillance footage from a local establishment Kiely visited prior to the gathering, where she was attired in a black spaghetti strap bodysuit, green Dickies trousers, a black grommet belt, and black Vans footwear. The The subsequent day, police also unveiled an image of Kiely's vehicle, a 2013 silver Honda CR-V with California license plate 8UR127, specifically highlighting the small ram's head decal beneath the rear wiper blade. Additionally, a snapshot of a black sweatshirt that Kiely purportedly borrowed from an individual on August 5th was made public. The most peculiar aspect was the Lana Del Rey lyrics inscribed on the sweatshirt. "You don't want to be forgotten, you just want to disappear." Subsequently, they released another image of a white sweatshirt resembling the one Kiely was purportedly wearing at the gathering, with "Odd Future" emblazoned on it. A community meeting took place on August 9th to raise awareness regarding the disappearance of the teenager. Officials urged the public to pay close attention to even the smallest details, as something as minor as a footprint could prove to be significant. They gathered some evidence from the campground, but chose not to reveal any specifics about it. Despite extensive efforts, including interviews and the allocation of 20,000 hours of manpower, authorities were still unable to locate either Kiely or her vehicle. Friends of Kiely reported that she was too intoxicated to drive that night, leading many to speculate that both she and her car may be submerged in the waters near her last known location. The area is known for its various bodies of water where vehicles have been discovered over the years. Unfortunately, despite the diligent search efforts by authorities, no trace of the missing teenager was found in the subsequent weeks. During this challenging period, Adventures with Purpose stepped in to assist the family after receiving requests from numerous individuals, including detectives. This group is renowned for their ability to locate submerged vehicles using advanced sonar technology, providing closure to families in distress. They announced via a Facebook post their intention to travel to California to aid in the search for Kiely Rodney, prioritizing this case over others. Meanwhile, authorities continued their search with a wide array of resources, including dirt bikes, Land Rovers, helicopters, and boats. They even conducted a sweep for sex offenders in the Truckee and North Tahoe regions, but these efforts yielded no results. The case garnered national attention, with many people across the country praying for Kiely's safe return. Regrettably, as each day passed, the likelihood of finding Kiely Rodney alive diminished. On the morning of August 21, 2022, the team from Adventures with Purpose arrived at the Prosser Creek Reservoir with their 2 sonar boats and diving equipment. Led by the skilled Doug Bishop and Nick Rinn, the team wasted no time in beginning their search at precisely 10:40 a.m. With precision and expertise, Doug and Nick each took a boat and ventured in opposite directions, swiftly scouring the waters. It was at 11:15 a.m. when Nick made a significant discovery, a vehicle submerged in the depths of the reservoir. Without hesitation, Nick donned his diving suit and proceeded to assess the vehicle, revealing it to be Kiely's as soon as the license plate was matched. Tragically, human remains were found inside the vehicle, marking the end of a young life full of promise. The swift and efficient work of the Adventures with Purpose team in locating Kiely within just 35 minutes was truly commendable. The authorities and Kiely's grieving family were promptly notified of the discovery. The subsequent autopsy confirmed the identity of the remains as Kiely's, although the cause of death remained a mystery. The investigation remains ongoing, as stated by the Placer County Sheriff in a press conference. The Rodney Niemann family expressed their gratitude to all who stood by them during this trying time, emphasizing the importance of celebrating Kiely's spirit rather than dwelling on their loss. While the case of Kiely Rodney continues to unfold, the closure brought by finding her remains after a harrowing 2 weeks is a small comfort in the face of such tragedy. We extend our deepest appreciation to the remarkable team at Adventures with Purpose, whose tireless dedication and unwavering commitment have illuminated the path for countless families seeking closure in the face of loss. Let us continue to champion these extraordinary diving angels, enabling them to sustain their noble mission for the betterment of society. Thanks to the incredible support from the community, they have successfully resolved numerous cold cases of missing persons since 2019. Together, let us empower authorities with purpose to offer this invaluable service to families and law enforcement by engaging with their captivating documentaries, acquiring their exquisite merchandise, and contributing generously.